Friday Night Showdown recap starts now.
Welcome into the Friday Night Showdown recap show. It's week 4. All of the high school action here in Central Illinois is in the books. It's time for us to break it all down. Here with a few high-profile, potentially conference-deciding matchups early in the season, starting with our game of the week. The first one coming from that game of the week, it's Quincy Notre Dame on the road against Sacred Heart Griffin. And don't mind the score on the screen, it's 6-0 Q&D, and they added more early. Gavin Dolman, for the third time this season, gets loose on a punt and return TD. Then Gresh, he punched in 2 rushing touchdowns before Cam Brinkman uses the legs, extends, and scores for SHG. But Q&D has a response. It's Van Verlo. Oliver Triplet, fresh back in the game after an injury, he scores a touchdown. End of the first half, this is where, wow. It's Brinkman extending, Hail Mary, and oh my God, it's Andrew Walters. He hauls it in for the halftime score, buzzer beater at the break, and then SHG again, Brinkman, pass to the back of the end, it's tipped, and it's Walters once again hauling it in for an SHG 6, and then Mikey Gresh, he punched in his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day on a 50-yard TD, icing it on 4th and 1. SHG get the revenge, and as a result, I'll hand things off to Spencer and Coach Allison.
Offense was doing pretty well. Defense was struggling. When offense started struggling, defense started doing well. So, just having each other's back and you don't always have to be your best as long as the people around you are there to pick you up. So that was definitely the case in this game.
We appreciate it, Coach. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
Update, our trophy may have been broken, so that's why we adjusted. Other side of the Central State 8, Glenwood 3-0 on the road against Rochester 3-0, 7-7 on my arrival, but first play, I press record, JP Leonard to Caden Stout, and Stout is off to the races, 80-yard score down the sideline, Rochester the advantage. And look at the lights, beautiful. Rochester, they would get a stop back with the Rockets, but Glenwood, they force a fumble on 4th down, Tate McHugh with a big stop. However, it's Knadler, next chance, he's rolling to his left, and it's Brooks Gavin. He jumps the pass, and the Titans, they try as they may. They weren't going to deny that score. 2-score lead for the Rockets. Next drive, though, Knadler settled down, starts looking deep left side. Dylan Huff for the big-time game. Then working close sideline shortly after. Another first time. This time it's Andrew Schwartz for the first. And Knadler through the air, jump pass from the Titan QB on 4th and 27. It's Larry Wills. 7-point game, and the Titans, they win in overtime, 43-42. What a game. We then slide over to MacArthur. And back in time, 5 p.m. kickoff for this one. MacArthur and Eisenhower, first look coming from DeMonte Phillips. Push out of bounds at the 1-2-yard line. Over shortly after the give, Caden Brown, he's in for the General 6. Then Panthers deep in their own territory, in their own end zone. And it's Amir Young, the sack and the safety for the Generals. Then Thomas Jarrett, he's going to drop back, goes over the top, deep, close sideline, but it's Kimari Morton, the interception for Eisenhower in the end zone. But MacArthur, they move to 4-0. They win big, 47-14. And the final game in the Central State 8, Jacksonville on the road, squaring off against Lanphier. Both sides 1-2. It's Jacksonville deep in Lanphier territory. Easton Ackerman takes the run. Foul gets carried, but he's in for a Crimson score. Then off the kickoff, it's Taj Morens. He makes a few nice moves before taking it near the 40, and then he gets taken down, however. And the Crimsons, they would stay hot. It's Darren Henry. He takes the handoff from the 50-yard line, and he is in untouched. Easy score for him as Jacksonville, they win big. Final score 48-0. And coming up after the break, it's, well, more football. We'll get into the Sangamo Conference in a little bit, but first, Carson Gordy, he's got all the action from over by Champaign, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to our Friday Night Showdown recap show, week 4, Central State 8 action. It's in the books. It's time for us to head out towards Champaign and our very own Carson Gordy, who's got all the high school action from over on that side. Carson, take it away.
Hey, Sam, maybe we'll get right to the games. Unity taking on St. Joe. 2 of these teams, I think they could both make the state championship eventually. We'll get to the highlights right here. First quarter, and it is all Toledo Unity at first. Dane Eisenmaker, usually known for his big arm, the Central Missouri quarterback commit, scrambles all the way down to the 5-yard line. This sets up an easy touchdown for one of his best friends, Eckstein, into the end zone. We got a 7-0 lead, Unity. Joe, they've been averaging 43 points per game this year, but the offense was struggling in the first half, having to settle for a field goal, and eventually we'd have a 14-3 advantage for Unity. And the Rockets, they would not take it easy on their rival. Trey Hogard taking it 40, 30, 20, 10. Last year they ended St. Joe's perfect season in the playoffs. This year they ended their perfect season in week 4. Unity wins 40-10. Next game, Mohammed Seymour taking on Taylorville. Mohammed Seymour has not lost a conference game in a long time, and they were dominant at first. Hit stick after hit stick, but Tornadoes would break away for an easy early touchdown, 6-0. But the Bulldogs had a trick play up their sleeve, wide receiver pass right to the breadbasket. This would set up a Wildcat play, and he would scramble from the 30, 20, 10 touchdown. Mohammed Seymour, they take back the 7-6 lead. And the nice little dump off to their wide receiver right here. He just does the dirty work and gets into the end zone. Mohammed Seymour would walk away with a commanding 49-27 victory. And next game, we got Danville and Champaign Centennial. It felt like a pitcher's duel. Danville needing a stop, the deflection, and then the interception. Really big play there, and it would set up a really good red zone drive. Quarterback scramble to the left side. That was really the best way they were generating offense throughout the day. But Centennial, they got a really good defense this year, literally lifting up the guy to the moon. They were able to drop him. He was able to be okay. And eventually, here's the big 4th down play. Danville's pass incomplete. Centennial holds on for a 14-7 victory. And finally, these are 2 historic rivals. Urbana taking on Champaign Central, both looking for their first win in 2025. Central just too strong for the Tigers. The offense was really clicking. They were able to score 46 points. Here's a highlight of one of Mark Robinson's touchdown plays. They would pull away for 46 to win over their rival. I'm Carson Gordy. Thank you for watching. Back to you, Sammy, with more football highlights.
Thanks, Carson. Coming up after the break, Sangamo Conference football action. Williamsville, New Berlin, Moroa, and Olympia all at home. Coming up after the break. Welcome back in. It's the Friday Night Showdown recap show. We are nearing the conclusion here in week 4, but still more games to get to. Sangamo Conference, let's go. 4 games of highlights. Here we go. Starting at Williamsville. Of course, Bullets 3-0 in the early season, hosting the struggling Saukeys, 0-3, but it's Jonah Anderson for the visitors' deep shot, and he's got his man Taylor Graham out of reach of the only bullet in sight. Pittsfield in for 6, and then they would be in for 2. The same exact connection, Anderson to Graham, 8 points in that same possession. And Bullets settle in, take over. Sanders across the middle, Mason Johnson breaks a tackle into the score. And then back again, Bullets. This time the handoff, it's Matthew Miller. Safe to say it was Miller time. He slips in for another score as Williamsville wins big, 64-26. In an early season make-or-break game, 2-2 teams. It's New Berlin hosting Riverton, and the Pretzels, they would start hot and stay that way. Brady Cruz, he takes the hit as he airs this one out to Charlie Newman. Dynamic duo in for 6, touchdown. And almost like the last play, it's Brady Cruz takes the hit as he throws Chase Dougherty in the end zone for another Cruz passing touchdown. Pretzels in firm control. Here's Picaro. He gets the handoff right back up the middle, shifts his way through a couple tackles before taking it into the house for a Pretzel score. They win 46-23. And back over to Decatur, it's Merle Forsyth back at home as they took on Porta AC, a team who would love to have an upset W, but spoiler, it wouldn't happen. We start with a monster Trojan game coming from the running back Jared Taylor as he brought this past the 50. Bad snap, not long after Ryan Shepard, he recovers and then takes off. A little Rajon Rondo ball fake, he's in, touchdown Trojans, and then Shepard throwing this time, and he's got Zach Smith, his top target, a 1st down gain. That all before Shepard once again shows off those legs, fakes the handoff, and attacks the running lane. Through a few tacklers, touchdown. Trojans win big. Final 53-0. In our final game of highlights tonight, it's Athens on the road taking on Olympia, fighting for that 3rd spot early going in the Sangamo. First drive of the game, Olympia, they got their ball deep in Athens territory. James Jones gets a blindside sack, fumble. Athens, they pick it up. And the Warriors with the ball deep in Spartan red zone territory. Gage Hahn follows it up with a perfectly set up block into the end zone. Touchdown. Then Athens, they start off the drive with a bang. Lincoln Kirk, he gets the handoff right up the middle, and he's going to win the foot race. 10-5, touchdown. Big one there. The Spartans desperately needing a score on the Athens side of the field. It's Caden Collins. He gets the pitch on the option and makes a nice cut, and he's going to get his way in for a Spartan score. But Athens, they win this one 37-28. And coming up after the break, we wrap things up here for week 4. Just a little more to cover. It's my play of the night as well as a look to week 5. Welcome back. We're short on time, so here's right into my play of the night. Sacred Heart Griffin. Narrow lead right before the half, and it's Cam Brinkman buying time. Setting up one last second heave, and he's still buying time, and he's going to let it go. A 50-plus yard touchdown in the air. Brinkman, he connects with Wolters and the crowd of Cyclones. Big time score as they get their win. Now we'll be back next week for our SEFCU Friday Night Showdown game of the week. It'll be week 5. It'll be a TV game over at Spartan Field. The Southeast Spartans back on their home grass as they host Jacksonville. It's sure to be a good one. Big time matchup in that one, and one where the Southeast, they're actually in action tomorrow, so they're going to want to get rolling tomorrow before that matchup against Jacksonville, who just set up their second win. 2-2 on the year, but that does it for us here in Week 4 Friday Night Showdown recap. I will see you guys next week for more football and tomorrow night for more sports.